So it's time to check in on the greenhouse and see what we've got growing in here. And there's a lot growing actually, and a lot of seedlings. I'm just going to go through the seedling bench in a minute, and like that half is for the polytunnel and this half is for the low tunnels, and then the middle are the brassicas that are going to take over from these low tunnel veggies when they're sort of finished in February time. But I'll go into all that in more detail. And yeah, I've got a lot of second succession things in here. Some of them are third successions, I suppose. But hopefully these will keep us going until winter, because the polytunnel is about to be cleared of all the summer veggies and replanted with all that lot down there. So yeah, there's a lot going on. So start off just we've got these honeycomb and sun gold tomatoes, and there's more at that end and more in the middle, and they're just absolutely beauties at the moment. And yeah, as I say, basically we've got a week's more harvest from the polytunnel, and then all the outdoor tomatoes are finished now. They've all gone rotten on the vines because we've had so much wet weather. And 1 week in the polytunnel, and then we're on to these, and they've got, you know, decent number of fruits on them, so they'll be doing pretty well. And then in the middle here I've got 4 hanging baskets of tomatoes. 2 of them are red profusion and 2 of them are what are they? I can't remember what they are. Tumbling Tom yellows, that's right. And I don't actually know which ones are which, because I figured I don't need to put the labels in, because I'll know when they ripen that the yellow ones are Tumbling Tom yellows and the red ones are red profusion. But yeah, for now it's just sort of wait and see. But of course they have got more fruits on really than the cordon tomatoes, and if all goes to plan, in about 10 days time these will start to ripen, which is exactly when I want them, of course. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with the tomatoes. They're looking really nice as well. Really big, strong plants. And if you're wondering, I started these 5th of July. So I sowed them 5th of July and planted them out maybe 6 weeks later, something like that. And basically roughly the same with the cordons, slightly earlier with the cordons. And I could have probably done those a week or so later. So next up I've got my cucumber. This is the last cucumber that I've got in here. I'm hoping to keep this going maybe even, well, certainly till the middle of October. It's got a lot of fruits on it at the moment, as you can see. But I have got another cucumber, a bigger one than this, in the conservatory, and I'm hoping to keep that one going to winter. So hopefully we'll have cucumbers until winter. By then we're absolutely fed up with cucumbers, so we don't mind not having them for a few months, but then we have them again towards the beginning of May, and that's not too long to wait really. So I've got a few peppers in here, but to be honest I don't really need these peppers in here. They're just to sort of fill up the space basically, because I've got lots of peppers outside still ripening to eat. I've got lots of peppers on the allotment, and I'm harvesting I've got loads of peppers harvested that are sort of partially ripe and ripe, that we're just sort of waiting to process or eat. On these benches down here I've got my last aubergine. It's just kind of hanging on there, just waiting for these just to ripen a little bit more. But as soon as I need the space, of course, that will go. I've got some baby beetroot, various different varieties, bull's blood, Botello, and golden beetroot. I'm not sure what actual variety that is, but it's marked up as golden on the seed packet. And those are for salad leaves. And I've also got a bed on the allotment for salad leaves of beetroot and chard for salad leaves, planted very densely. And I want to see which ones do best basically. The ones in the troughs in the greenhouse, or the ones in, I think, are they in a cold frame? I think they're in a low tunnel on the allotment. So, oh, and I've got some peas down there. I don't think I'll get a harvest off these peas, but I'm just trying. I'll see how they do. They are a sugar snap pea. They're resistant to mildew. I might get them to grow. I probably won't. But as I say, I'm always trying. And I've got strawberries. I've just potted some strawberries up actually outside in the kitchen garden for next spring in here. So I will bring them into the house, put them under grow lights for 10 days in about March time, early March. That'll break dormancy. As soon as I see good growth and little flower buds forming, I'll bring them in here. And that timing seems to work quite nicely, because basically then by about April we're eating strawberries, and it's really nice. But I'm also by April got these hanging baskets full of tomatoes again, so I don't have that much space for strawberries, sort of six hanging baskets, something like that. I put one plant in each hanging basket because they grow pretty big. It's nice, I think, to just have a few. Just gives me a handful of strawberries a day, fresh. But fairly soon these will be finishing, and I think that's it. So we're on to the bed. These trays that I've got on the bench, I'll start with these are the furthest on. And so what we've got here are mostly remember Brighton there, Roxy there, Rickia there, Grenoble Red there, a few more Brightons, Red Stem Pak Choi, Wild Rocket for spring, Salad Rocket for autumn and early winter, and Tatsoi. All of these, the intention, apart from the Wild Rocket, all of these are going to go in my low tunnels and coal frames. Those are going to be all harvested by the end of February, so they're primarily going to be harvested in the period middle of December to middle of February, and that is the time when all the other lettuces won't be growing very much. So the idea is grow these to sort of maturity, to reasonably sized heads, harvest those whole heads, clear all those beds by the middle of February, and then plant these. So here we've got red drumhead, red cabbages, marathon calabrese, Offenham spring cabbages, Caraflex spring cabbages, Romanesco cauliflowers and graffiti cauliflowers. And I've just done the next succession of those, which just adds Orkney white cauliflowers. And so middle of February, sometimes a little bit earlier if I clear a bed a bit earlier, I'll pop those in the ground. Some of those will go in the polytunnel, most of them will go in the low tunnels, some of them will go in the deep coal frames. That's basically all the space I've got. Most of that space has got clubroot, but it doesn't really matter. None of these are clubroot resistant varieties, because clubroot isn't active until well into spring, and by then these have got big, well-established root systems. And although the clubroot will sort of affect them a little bit, it doesn't really affect the harvest. So I'll be harvesting these in late April through to the middle of May, maybe as far as late May. And then I replant those beds, obviously, mainly with melons and things like that. So really like that. It gives me maximum use of my low tunnels, keeps them busy and pumping out veggies all the time. And I particularly like growing these brassicas like that, because that's the most difficult time of year. You know, that period, end of April through to basically June, is what we think of as the hungry gap. It's the time when we generally don't have very many brassicas because they've all gone to seed. And so I have loads of brassicas because of the overwintering. So it just fills that gap really nicely and gives me loads of calabrese, cabbages and cauliflowers. The only thing worth mentioning as well is that these red drumhead and the ones I've just done the second succession of, a red ladero, those red cabbages, they won't be ready until sort of June, July time. But again, it just means as the spring cabbages are finishing, I'm onto the red cabbages. I also will be doing mini Savoy cabbages, but I don't start those until February. Right, so that's that bit. And then here I've got all the stuff that's going in the polytunnel, and I've got Grenoble Red, Flashy Lightning Butter Oak, Valdor, Roxy, more Brighton, a little bit of Riccia, lots and lots of Claytonia, which is an absolutely fabulous winter lettuce. And that actually fills that gap, you know, that period I mentioned from the middle of December through to the middle of February, when things are really slow. Claytonia keeps on growing during that period, particularly in the polytunnel. It's a fantastic one in the polytunnel. I put it underneath my trestle tables because it copes with shade, light shade, pretty well, where the cucumbers are at the moment. And it does really well. So all the main beds that have currently got tomatoes in the polytunnel will all get replanted with all of these salads. And that means we get a lot of salads all the way through winter. And that's pretty important to us. In our salad mixes, we've basically got lettuce, Claytonia, Asian greens, lamb's lettuce, and baby beetroot and chard leaves. So that's what kind of makes up a salad for us. On here, I've just got some Santonio tomatoes. These are actually quite expensive seeds. So I've actually started these little plants. I'll be taking them inside soon, potting them on, and I will be propagating side shoots from these all the way through winter. So I get a nice early plants in spring, and then I'll be taking those side shoots off those plants in spring. This is the plan anyway. And I will be potting those up and putting those in the polytunnel in May. So from 2 seeds, I should get, I don't know how many plants I'm going to do in the polytunnel, but probably 6 plants or something like that in the polytunnel. And it's just a bit of an experiment to see if I can keep on propagating from side shoots. All these tomatoes in here, all of these were propagated from the side shoots of the side shoots of my early plants. So yeah, they've done pretty well. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much it. I've got some Claytonia outside. I've just been doing a lot of planting outside. And Claytonia doesn't do very well under cover. It tends to get a bit of mildew. But all the others, all of these, do fabulously under cover. Might think that is a lot of salads. And it is a lot of salads, but I'm feeding 10 people and we're all big salad eaters. And, you know, I tend to have a big 2-litre container worth of salad pretty much every day of the week. And my wife has probably 2/3 of that, and then kids and etc. So that's it. And they've just switched my trusty dehydrator off while I made this video because it makes a bit of noise. But that is full of apples and pears. And it's pretty much full and going full time all the way through September and pretty much all the way through October as well. And that'll pretty much be the only heat that this greenhouse gets in October, I should think, which is why this cucumber plant will stall in October, because it's just not warm enough to set fruit. In fact, you can see, well, you may be not able to see, but I can see a few fruits here that are failing to set fruit, sorry, let's start that again. A few flowers that are failing to set fruit on here, because we have had some nights sort of down at 5 degrees and things like that recently, and that is too cold for cucumbers. Really, they like it sort of 12 to 16 degrees, something like that at night to set fruit, but yeah, there's still plenty of fruits on. So yeah, and then I just keep on waffling. Once all this is out, because all this is going to get replanted, planted, all this part of the bench is being planted tomorrow, and all of that part is being planted, so tomorrow is actually going to be 29th. All of that stuff's going to be planted, I don't know, maybe 6th or 7th of October, something like that. Then I'll start with all my winter stuff, and that'll grow under grow lights in here, and that's the stuff again that we'll be harvesting in that midwinter period when it's really difficult to get high quality leaves off the allotment. But I'll be having radishes and Asian greens and spinach and things like that from, and baby beetroot and chard leaves and things from the greenhouse, as well as all these overwintered brassicas in here, as well as lots of other exciting stuff. So if you've made it this far, you might want to know that I do have a newsletter that goes through all of this, because there's a lot to keep track of. What am I sowing? Why am I sowing? What am I pricking out? What am I potting on? What am I planting? Where am I planting? How am I looking after things? What I'm harvesting? What pests and diseases I'm dealing with? How I'm watering? You know, all these nitty-gritty details. How I'm heating? How I'm lighting? For year-round self-sufficiency of fresh food, not just frozen food. You know, lots and lots of lovely high quality fresh food, and the high quality is important to us, and we keep on pushing the envelope on quality. So anyway, this is the Outgrow channel. My name's Steve. I'll see you soon.